Hello and welcome back to something we haven't done in a long time, but I'm bringing it back, guys, because everybody seems to love the Builders Academy series. So we're back again with the Builders Academy, and today we are looking at gradients, one of my favorite things to use in Minecraft, and I've been getting into it a lot lately. So today I want to show you my best tips and advice for gradients. But before we do that, guys, if you're brand new, go ahead and hit the subscribe and like if you like this kind of video to let me know I should do more of this, and make sure you comment your favorite tip from today and share this video so other people can get to it. But guys, enough talking, enough of this. Let's get into gradients so I can teach you exactly how to use gradients. Now, the first thing we have to ask is, what is a gradient? And what you're seeing right here is, well, a gradient. And the reason gradients are cool is because it transitions from one color to another instead of just sharp, jagged color changes. Now, gradients like this can be used in many ways as walls or towers or roofs, and so many possibilities with just a simple gradient like this one. And I'm going to teach you today some of the ways you can use it, how to use it, how to create it, and how to come up with colors that maybe you've never seen before. Here at my huge dark castle build, you can see the use of gradients is everywhere. Over here on these pillars sticking out of the water here, on these towers from the very bottom where it starts as black stone and comes all the way up to stone, and even in the roofs there's some gradients all the way up to the top. Even the tower featured in the thumbnail right here has two sets of gradients going from the bottom all the way up in the pillar of the tower, and then the roof also is a gradient. So there's some great examples of where you can use gradients and how they can be implemented into a build. So now that you know what a gradient is and where you can use it, how about some examples? And right here you're seeing tons of examples of great gradients that you can use and combine in your builds to make them much more complicated and detailed. Now, the great thing about a gradient is that it lets you transition from one type of material to another. For example, we start out with sandstone here, transition into wood and make it all the way to granite, and then we could even take it all the way here to mushroom blocks and take it down the brown one after that. Who knows? You can do so much with gradients. For example, this one also right here. This can be connected to this one right here. If we just take this one and plop it on the end, there's so many ways you can combine gradients and create new ones. Now, even colorful things like these right here can have gradients with the shulker box, wool, and concrete powder. Now, it's a little bit more niche in building, but if you're in creative and stuff, you can use the shulker boxes and do these types of things with gradients. I've done it many times. And right here is another specialty gradient. This is one of my favorite ones. It's the jungle planks, the beehive, and the gold, and that one is just a really unique one I had to separate from the rest. Well, now that you have all of the tools and even examples right here of gradients, how do you actually make them in a build? Well, that's what we're going to do next, so let's jump over to that. So guys, for the example, I'm going to be using this gradient right here, one of my absolute favorite gradients in the game. So this is what we're going to be going with, and what we're going to do is we're just going to make a 4 wide wall just as an example to show you how you do gradients. Now, you get all of your blocks ready and you start with the darkest one right here. Now, what I'm going to do is I usually go about 2 high and then I start to split it up a little bit. So I'll probably just do 2 there and maybe 1 on the end, and then I'll take the next color of the gradient and fill in that block right there, and I might just do 1 more right there and then fill in the whole top with that and then cap it off. So see, we already have a good transition between those two, but now we just repeat that same process. So we'll go 1 more layer and then we'll start to do, it'll start to split up a little bit like this, and we'll feed that in there a little bit, and then maybe we'll just do this and have 1 spike up right there and then fill in all of this with our next color. And then you can take a step back and see, you know what, that looks a little bit weird, so let's just do this, and you see the transition is just a little bit better there now. And then I'm going to continue this same exact thing. We'll do something like this, and then we'll fill it in with our next color just like that, and that looks pretty good. So we'll do it once again, and you just keep doing this same pattern all the way up until you get to your max color, whatever it is that the end color you're reaching for. And I'm gonna fix this one up a little bit. That looks much better. If we can even do this. And now what we're gonna do is split this up and then take our second to last block here, go up with it, and then we're gonna just go like this and fill it in with our final block. Now with the final one, I like to just cap it off and give it a little bit extra height, just like this. And there you go. That's how you create a gradient, how you build it in the game. So how you take it from what we have down at the bottom of the screen into actual practical builds just like this. Now you can expand this wide or tall to make the gradient more big, create a wall to a house, or this could be 1 wall of a tower, for example. Now what I did here was I took that gradient and I did it on 4 different sides so that we have a little bit of a tower here, so I can show you how to do a roof now. So with the tower up like this and our cool gradient on, we start with our darkest color on the bottom once again. And what I do is I make the tower just as normal, and I go up with it, and I need to fill this all in with shulker boxes now. And so I'm going to do a little bit of this little dance I have to do with placing shulker boxes so that I'm crouching. And once we reach a little bit of a decent height where we want to make a change in the colors, what you have to do is come in here and then start filling it in with your next color and just go straight up with it. So now that I have this yellow in here, I'm going to just take it up to my next layer and keep building the tower as normal, just like this, as you see. And we'll go in and we'll adjust the colors in just a moment. So what we'll do is we will go here and we'll start with our next color. We want it to be this concrete powder, and then we have to put this here, and that'll be the tip of our tower. Now that we can step back and look at that gradient, we can go in and fix it as we see necessary. So for me, I think I need this to come down just a little bit lower right here, and maybe even down over here a little bit. So we'll just have this come down just a little bit extra. Oops. Like I was saying, you just kind of mess with it until it looks good. And you see I have the shulker boxes coming up a little bit higher here, and the wool not as visible here, but I think it looks really, really cool now. And obviously these colors do not match. Don't actually build this right here. This is an ugly build, but it is a good example of how to make gradients for a tower. Now you're probably wondering, Lemon Slice, how do you do it for a roof? You know, how do you take it from just randomized blocks like this or this and make it a gradient? Well, I've done it for you so you can see right here. This is what a gradient on a roof could look like, and you have, you know, your dark color fading into the next one and into the next one. And I do this quite often with a lot of my builds, and you build it just as we did with the tower. It's pretty self-explanatory, just slowly fade it in. And the best tip I have for you is constantly take a step back and look at it and make adjustments. Now, it is important to remember that not every build looks good with a gradient, and typically you don't want to use a gradient on all parts of the build either. I mean, the tower in the thumbnail is just an example of gradients. Once again, you don't want to be using gradients too spamming, but they are a really, really good tool to have in your building arsenal if you want to learn how to become a better builder. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Builders Academy, and comment below what you think we should cover next here in the Builders Academy. And if you're new and I've earned your subscription, please go ahead and subscribe, because we just hit 5K and we are reaching for that 10K, guys. Thank you so much for the support. It means a lot, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. The Builders Academy is officially back.